Max Verstappen is reportedly unhappy with the team's current path, especially concerning the choice of the second driver. This isn't a new feeling for Max, as he had similar concerns last year when Perez faced difficulties with the car. The team seemed more focused on the driver than on resolving the car's issues. So can Max influence any changes now, especially when it seems the team isn't heeding his advice? If not, is this an early sign of a potential split between them? It's clear that Verstappen isn't pleased with the team's progress over the last few months. Despite not being as outspoken as you might expect from a four-time world champion, the latest driver change has sparked a shift. The swift exit of Liam Lawson, marking the briefest stint for any Red Bull driver, hasn't sat well with Verstappen. He thinks the team is overlooking what's most important, making the car more competitive. Verstappen knows firsthand that few drivers can match his driving style, but his dissatisfaction with the car's performance highlights that the team might not be focused on the right priorities. In an urgent meeting in Dubai, Verstappen expressed his worries about how quickly Lawson was replaced, pointing out that his performance was judged after racing on just two tracks he'd never experienced before, one being a sprint weekend. Plus, Lawson won't have the opportunity to race on a track he's quite familiar with, Suzuka, where he has valuable Super Formula experience. Regardless, Red Bull has chosen to ignore Max and is moving forward with swapping Lawson for Tsunoda. This decision hasn't gone down well with the four-time world champion, and even De Telegraph, a news source very close to Red Bull and Verstappen, has reported on it. In their report, they noted that it's easy to imagine Verstappen's thoughts on Red Bull's management choosing Tsunoda over Lawson after just two races. Verstappen, hailing from Limburg, doesn't agree with the team jumping in so quickly either. If you delve deeper, it's understandable why Max feels this frustration. He's keen on having a car with a highly responsive front end. However, he also grasps the challenge Red Bull faces in building a more competitive car for their second driver. According to F1 Insider, the Dutch driver is willing to sacrifice a bit of his own performance to help the second driver earn more points. It's important to note, though, that the RB21 is being developed independently of driver preferences. The car is what it is. When aerodynamic experts are working in the wind tunnel to boost a car's performance, they're focused purely on the data, not on what the driver prefers. While the driver's feedback matters, it doesn't significantly change the direction the engineers take back at the factory. So even if Max is frustrated with the team for not maximising the car's performance, his unique driving style is likely the reason why the second driver slot always poses challenges for others. Additionally, the team isn't granting its drivers sufficient time to get used to the car. Broadly speaking, you'd notice that Lawson wasn't as ready as Antonelli, given how different the Red Bull and Racing Bull cars are, a point Verstappen himself has made. Max believes that Lawson will become more competitive with a simpler car, like the Italian teams. He noted that unlike other teams where drivers are more evenly matched, their car is exceptionally challenging. Max suggested that if Liam drove the Racing Bull's car, he'd probably be faster. I truly believe that car is much simpler to drive than ours. I even noticed it while chatting with Liam. Last year, I didn't find much of a gap between him and Yuki Tsunoda. Otherwise, the team likely wouldn't have chosen him for Red Bull. What's puzzling is why Red Bull has hit the panic button so early in the season. It's not about Lawson's performance, but their expectations seem to be off. They weren't well prepared, even knowing he'd have to handle a highly challenging car that only Max seems to manage. Plus, Max isn't thrilled with the car either, and mentioned that there needs to be a considerable upgrade if they want to compete with the McLarens for race victories. We've repeatedly seen that Max doesn't need the absolute fastest car to win races. On the flip side, Max's unique driving style creates a challenging situation when trying to extract the absolute best performance from the RB21. Explaining this impact on the car's development, Horner mentioned that Max prefers a car with an extremely responsive front end and precise handling. This preference, however, can cause instability at the rear, which can be quite draining for drivers as they navigate corners with a wobbly back end. Yet this is exactly where Max shines, thriving on the car's fine line of grip. We're seeing a new side of Verstappen as he evolves into a driver keen on guiding the team forward effectively. Despite Max's earlier feedback in 2023 being dismissed due to the team's dominance, things changed when results began to decline, especially with Perez's performance. The team then contemplated replacing Perez with another driver closer to Max's level. They never considered altering the car's development path, a decision that now haunts them. This is the root of Max's frustration. The team ignores him when it's crucial, instead concentrating on various new drivers trying out a car for the first time, hoping for a miracle from Tsunoda, Lawson, or maybe even Hajar. If they had chosen a seasoned driver like Sainz who would smoothly adapt to the car, their strategy would probably have been very different. Bernie Collins shed light on Red Bull's decision-making regarding their drivers, especially highlighting how little time Lawson had to prepare for his Red Bull opportunity. She questioned Red Bull's approach by comparing it to Mercedes, pointing out that while Kimi Antonelli has undergone extensive testing with Mercedes, Red Bull's approach to Lawson or any other driver for the second seat was far less comprehensive. Collins wonders why they didn't put Lawson through a rigorous 60-day testing program with an older Red Bull model akin to Mercedes' method. It will have the same features and there's no budget cap for that. He could have found himself in a much stronger position with the car than he currently is. This situation adds a lot of pressure on Horner, who ultimately has the responsibility of choosing the drivers and creating a balanced team like McLaren and Ferrari. If Horner can't manage this, influential figures like Marco and Jos Verstappen might push to question his leadership, especially considering Max's situation. The four-time world champion has been linked with teams like Mercedes and Aston Martin, which he might use to his advantage. Given all this, do you think the tension at Red Bull could escalate to a point where Verstappen threatens to leave if things don't go his way? And most importantly, will Horner face the fallout for failing to ensure a top-performing car for the second driver? Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. See you in the next video.